So I have a few things here. I will say, just to sort of piggyback on something that was said earlier about the APR. So we expect the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to give us results in December this year. That's delayed because there has been a delay in, well, the science test is not going to be a part of it because that was a field test. And there's some changes there, but we expect that they'll let districts know across the state the first week in December, and then it'll be public. I think the third week in December is what I've been told so far. But as soon as we know, certainly we're going to share it with the board, and then certainly go public with it when DESE sets the embargo for that. So I want to take this opportunity. We've had quite a bit of tragedy in our district over the last couple of days with students, and you may have seen some of it on the news, and I know that McClure and Mr. Gerald had an incident happen at MSB as well, and so I just want to take an opportunity for not only the lives that were lost, but the lives that were left behind, and the impact that it has on families and community, because it has a huge impact, and then there's things happening in other districts right now that, it pains my heart when, I hear all this stuff. There's an incident happening in Riverview Gardens, and it just bothers me to no end when I hear these things. And so I just want to take an opportunity, if you would join me in just a moment of silence, and you spend that moment however you feel necessary, but think about the families that are left behind in the tragedy of all of what has happened in our community, because really we're all one, and it's really important for us to be supportive of each other. So please join me in that moment of silence. Thank you. I'll try to be quick here. Summer Institute went really well. Every year we have Summer Institute. So every year we immediately, after school's over, right after Memorial Day, it's really important. We're intentional about that. It's important to do it right after school's over because it's fresh in the minds of principals and ISLs and leaders in the district who really focus on moving academics forward, learning and outcomes really forward. So we always do our Summer Institute the week right after Memorial Day. We start at WashU. We've got a great partnership with them. In fact, myself and Philip Boyd, Attorney Boyd, met with Dean Rollins over at the College of Arts and Sciences here recently of a new partnership we have for our teachers, specifically giving some training for our teachers. So we had a really good Summer Institute, but the learning was really around getting ready for next school year because while I think we're going in the right direction, there's still so much more to do, so much work that has to be done as learners, leaders and learners, and supporting our teachers. You saw on the screen in the images of success with our math workshop that was going on. We have an ELA 1 that's going on. Folks in Tiffany Bess's department are working diligently to galvanize teachers around learning and outcomes. But I say this often, and I'll say it now, and I really need this to get in the hearts of our people in the community, that it really is about student learning and outcomes, right? And I just don't want students graduating with a diploma. And while we graduated over 700 students this past year, having a piece of paper is not enough, right? Kids have to have skills. They have to know how to speak well, think well, write well, do math well, so that when they leave us, they have a diploma that gives them the tools they need to have next steps, employability, educability, whatever their decisions are. And so I just wanted to say that because it's so important to keep doing that. And it's important for us to keep learning as leaders, right? Like we're all learners. We all share that title, all of you. We all share that, parents, community, all of us are learners, and we have to get better for our children. I say that only because I think it's so important, and I say it largely as a daddy, but also as superintendent, that everything we do, any decisions you hear the board make, you heard Dr. Thurman talk about equity, and Dr. Graves and many talk about equity, it's really about children and the decisions we make and the people it affects most, like our most vulnerable population, and how does the decision we make affect them? And that's what we always try to think about. We had a really good time with our social justice and equity work that we started out with at WashU. So the first 2 days, Billy Mayo and Tony Neal and Phil, I don't know if I Phil's last name, but it was simply amazing. That was some of the best training that we have had. In fact, we were in the workshop we were in, I think Parkway was presenting on, but we actually just went through that training. When I got there, we had just got done with the training here per floor. And so we are going to be doing that same training work within our schools. Because what it does is it begins to put the mirror in front of all of us around issues of race and biases that are in our own heads about other people that may or may not look like us. We called it out. We called out the black. We called out the white. We dealt with particular issues, right? Because in the history of our country, we have been divided. It used to be the North and South, but now it's black and white. Not just in this area, but across this entire country. And so we have been having those very poignant conversations about race. There's very important conversations about how we think about other people, and so it was just powerful. And I feel strong about the work going forward within our schools. We really want our teachers to engage in it, and we want our students to engage in it, right? Because they're our futures, and they have to have that conversation about these issues that they're going to face. And so I want to say that here because we're constantly thinking about how we improve our district. I'm really excited too about the work that we're going to be doing this summer. We have a couple of, I think 8 people this year. This is probably our last year going to Harvard and connecting that work with our problem of practice. But Dr. Thurman mentioned a minute ago about CI3T. All that work we're doing is really centered around that problem of practice that we came up with a couple of years ago. And it's really about the relationships between teachers and students in the classroom. And so it's constant ongoing work. The data piece around discipline, we've done some revising of our student expectation code. We even did some more revision work of that this year. And so that work doesn't happen overnight though. Y'all know that, right? Like it takes time to make these things happen. And I'm just one person on the whole team. And there's no way I will ever take credit for, I'm just a part of the team. But, what I will say is, we have a presentation that's going to come forward after we're done here about block scheduling. But there's so many different pieces, promotion standards that we have to look at. We're looking at restructuring. I mean, all these things are done intentional because we have to get our kids ready for life. But we have to hold kids accountable too, right? We have to hold parents accountable. We have to be held accountable. But we're going to have to really address not creating new policies, just enforce the policies we already have in place, right? Like Senate Bill 319, for example, and kids reading on grade level by the time they leave 4th grade. And we haven't been holding children and families to that while giving them the support they need to be successful, right? So we're not going to create a new policy necessarily. We may make some changes there, but we're going to highlight them and be very intentional about how we hold students accountable, because at the end, they have to graduate. I want these numbers to be 100%. That's what we're after. Our graduation rate is higher than it's ever been. Last year, currently our graduation rate from 2017, 4-year graduation rate is 80.6. It's never been in the 80s, okay? My hope is it'll get even higher this year. I don't know, but principals know I'm holding them accountable to it, especially the high school folks. I'm holding them accountable to that. I need all of them graduating. And as we improve that, we also want to improve them graduating with the skills they need to be successful in life. So a lot of changes there that takes time. We have all administrators meeting coming up 24th and 25th of July. We partnered with the Federal Reserve Bank. They've been really gracious over the years with us. They bought us AP Economics books, Equal Opportunity Schools. We have more kids taking AP. I mean, some really great things that I think are happening for our district, but it takes time, and we got to keep pushing it forward. One thing I'm really excited about is we have a partnership with Regions Bank, and so we met at the new administration building in the boardroom and had probably 80% of our schools represented with a parent. And Regions Bank is doing classes in our community with the PTO president or the key parent at that school. We just need at least one parent and the principal. And they're going to be teaching on budget and credit. Regions Bank I personally sat down with them and met and had a conversation about, what I'm really after is improving home ownership for those who want it, because I think that improves economic development in our community. But I think budgeting is really important because you can't have good credit if you don't have a budget. You have a budget, know how to spend your money, and then you got to know how to manage your credit so that you can buy a house and it be yours. And it changes everything. So Regions Bank has said, my issue is going to the bank and seeing somebody not having an account and having to spend a lot of money at a payday loan or all these different kinds of things when we just really need to give parents those tools. So Regions Bank has stepped up, and so I'm really excited about that partnership. We are on track with our building assessment system. We've had a number of meetings outside of those 3 large meetings. I had another meeting at the library at the STEAM school after all those and some of the smaller community meetings with our parent advisory group. We had a good crowd there, probably about 35 to 40 people that came to that meeting, and we tape them all and we tweet out and all that good stuff. But just trying to really be on top of keeping people engaged around October when we get to that. But we will be having at least one more large meeting, likely sometime in September, once we know exactly when the building assessment system is done. When that assessment system is done and we have those results and we look at them and the board looks at them, we'll do a big public meeting with MGT, who we've contracted with. It will likely be in September. They haven't been set yet. As soon as we can set that date, once we can know when we'll get those results back, we'll do that and give at least 30 to 45 days notice so people can have time to be able to plan to be there. But that's going to be really important so that when October gets here, we should be on track for the board having the data they need to make a decision about how we move forward. I think that's it. So we are excited about the summer. I'm going to try to get me at least a day or two. My anniversary is July 17th, so I'm excited about it. My wife and I are going to, if nothing else, we're going to sing Junior somewhere in at least the 2 days, right? So we're excited. BJ would kill me if you heard me call him Junior in public. But thank you all for for your support of our district, because it's really about us as a team. And it's a lot of work. Y'all know it is, but it's important work. And I don't complain about it because I love it, because I know the value of a great education. Mandela said it better than anybody, that this is the best weapon that we can use to change our communities, is educating children well so that they have the tools. And that's what I'm after, is doing that. So.